Okay, guys. Good day, good evening, good morning. Sorry, it's evening my side. I think it's just 1 hour difference from Nigeria. So, good evening. How's everyone? How you doing? How's your day? Hope you are having a nice, or hope you had a nice day. Um, I welcome you all to a new session today. Uh, please, I want to confirm if the sound is okay. So please let me know if the sound is okay. If you all can hear me. If you can't, please just indicate so I'll make some few changes to my sound. But I believe everyone is hearing me, yeah? Okay, that sounds good. Okay. Doing good. So I'll just probably wait for extra 5 minutes and have others join the class, then we'll begin. So I would be switching back to the thumbnail. So Okay, guys. Hi everyone. I think we can begin now. So, I believe the sound check is okay and everything is working well, right? I'll just make some few changes to my end so I can be sure I'm seeing myself well. Okay. So, it's the first class for the week, and I hope everyone is fine, and I hope everyone is excited to be here today. So today we kickstart official the learning course. Yeah. Uh, I think there should be like a handshake for that or something. Yeah. Yeah. Today officially kickstart the learning course, and I am so excited. I'm so happy that we're doing this. So already I've been making some activities and some changes to some connections like collaborations to make this bootcamp more exciting. So I've been able to speak to some of my friends, some of my people who are interested in helping out and also in making things better. So from tomorrow or from today, you most definitely will be getting a written or um, uh, uh, a transcribed version of each live class. Yeah, you have a transcribed version of each live class, and yeah, from today as well, moving forward. So, what we'll be doing today? Today, I'll be introducing you to full stack development. Before we start going to the whole coding and everything, like I said, this class was designed for the noobs, yeah, people who don't understand anything when it comes to tech, people who don't understand anything that comes to what it means to be a developer, yeah. So that is the essence of this class. So we would be starting from the very, very, very beginning, and that's why I would be teaching you on um, I'll be teaching you on introduction to full stack development. So in today's class, you learn I'll introduce you into full stack development and what it takes to be a full stack developer, the difference between full stack development. I'll take you difference between full stack development with software developer and software engineering. I'll take you through what full stack development is, who a full stack engineer is or full stack developer is. How do you identify full stack development roles? What does a full stack developer do? Full stack developers in demand. Why does the full stack developer need what do you need to know as a full stack developer, right? So that's what we're going to be treating today. A deep dive or a deep introduction into full stack development so that you don't mix it up. Yeah. So because I see a lot of people mixing it up these days. Some people come and they tell you I'm a full stack developer, but they are only focused in a specific part of the software, right? That doesn't make you a full stack developer. There's someone who is a full stack developer and calling himself a software developer, right? They are like there's like a thin blue line between between both roles, so people don't really know that difference. Yeah. So today I'll explain in probably I'll try to but explain better, right? I'll try to explain better and deeper so you understand what it means to be a full stack developer. So let's get this started. So as you all know, my name is Amiz Melody, and I will be your convener for the next 6 months with friends. And we will be introducing to the world of full stack development and how you and teach you to become a full stack developer in 6 months, right? And like I said, for those who are still coming, I'm still welcoming you to our first class after our building session. So feel free to come. So kindly note that most of the contents that you see here for today's class, the source is from the University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies. All right, so I got most of my contents there, and um, So this is me giving credits. Now, moving ahead. So what is full stack development? What is full stack development? Yeah, before we move ahead, I think I should do this immediately. For those who are here or who has registered on the forum, uh, if you have any questions, please ask your questions in the forum, and this is where you sit. When you go to the forum and you're logged in, right? When you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction, when you go to the forum and you're logged in, introduction. I just realized that there was an echo. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry about that. I have stopped it now and you shouldn't be hearing an echo again. Sorry, so sorry. So, on your tags, you use full stack development and here, so you can just press the enter key. Sorry. Yeah, so you can do full stack. So after you put in your introduction, like the sub forum is going to be introduction to full stack development. Your question that you want to ask, put in the task, can use any something that relates to what you want to ask. Yeah. So this is going to be good for others who are looking for that same question. Then if you have an image, or I think most probably you might have an image, and the question you want to ask comes here, then you create a topic. So that is how you create a question for, or that's how you ask your question for this particular sys class. So endeavor to ask a question there, because I'll be checking there to check questions. And again, if you if you if you would have a similar question that someone has asked before, don't ask again, just upvote the person's question. Yeah. If you don't know what upvoting means, so this is what it means to upvote. So if you come to this place, and if I go to my home, and let's say this is a question in the introduction section, there's a question there. Like this person asked, please, we are still waiting for the link. So I won't go and ask for a new question like, please, where is the link or something. Yeah. I'll just come here and upvote his question. Right. I think I'll read it before. So yeah, see, I just upvote his questions and it turns to two. So when I come, I see that the question is upvoted. Right. So someone is still asking where is the class link. So let me just quickly send the class link to the person. So I'm sorry. So you see this how it's going to be easy for me to answer your questions. Yeah. So also I believe you've all been getting the I believe you've all been getting emails as regards each classes and this email schedule for the week. So please, let's be on time and be prompt. Yeah. So I'll move ahead now. Sorry, is the audio still echoing? I need replies. Someone should just reply if the audio is still echoing on the comment section, please. Okay, okay, I think it's better now. So, what is full stack development? What is full stack development? I know many of you will have been hearing the term full stack development for like forever. Funny enough, I have like some of my guys or my senior men who are in this comment section. I've seen them already, and they're full stack developers, right? On a so yeah, on a big scale. So many of you have been hearing full stack development. What does it mean to be a full stack developer? Who is a full stack developer? Things like that. So I'll be explaining in depthly who a full stack developer is. So a full stack developer is a type of software developer, right? This developer can perform front end and back end operations, plus has a rich, comprehensive set of skills and perform and programming languages and problem solving aptitude. So this is just English here. Let me explain better. So a full stack developer is someone who is experienced in backend development and front-end development. So when I say backend development, I means the logic, right? The business logic of an application. For example, when you see a web app, when you see a website, let's say, uh, which other can I use? Let's say Facebook, right? Facebook is a website, it's a software, it's a web platform, yeah? It's a web app, right? So what you see, what you interact with is the UI, the user interface. So the person who builds the user interface is the front end person, right? What you see, the interpretation of everything you see on your website is built by the front end person. Now, the person who builds the logic, right? That says, okay, at the point where I click on this button, right, you should be able to fetch like hit the database. And how do I hit the database to get the username of this person? So all those logic, the person what who handles logic is the backend developer. They're in charge of the backend. The backend developer is in charge of the logic of the software of the platform. Yeah. So now most people mix it up. Some people feel whoever is some people say when they're a backend developer and they know how to write just HTML and CSS, they classify themselves as a full stack developer. No, a full stack developer is experienced in both front end, back end, you know, knows how to run some database activities and does testing, knows how to do some kind of tests, and also knows a bit about the UI, user interface design of a platform. Yeah, so they are not just they have experience in all these things, right? And that's what makes you a full stack developer. Not knowing one thing to the core and probably a little bit of it, and you feel you're a full stack developer. No, a full stack developer has knowledge about each stack. So that's the front end and the back end. So, like I said, um, does I don't know. So the thing there is that the full stack technology refers to like the entire depth of your computer system application, right? So your full stack developer straddles like two separate web development domains here. This is like the front end and the back end, as I said before, right? So in front end, there are like technologies there. I'm not saying he has to know all the technologies in the front end. No, not possible, right? But he has a stack that he follows. Like he knows that he knows HTML, CSS, JavaScript, some like probably one JavaScript framework, yeah, and some all the two like good in-depth knowledge of of front end technologies, how the front end works, and how interaction happens in the DOM and things like that. So once you have that knowledge, right, then he also has knowledge about back end frameworks, back end languages. That's the client and the server side languages like Node.js, PHP, Python, Java. Then talk about the frameworks like Spring, Laravel, um, um, Django, Flask, then these are like different frameworks, right? Now he knows all these things. So not only knowing all these things, so not only what someone said is on repeat. Sorry. If you're having issues with your view, please kindly increase your what do you call it? Kindly increase your video quality from YouTube. It should help with that. So if you're not seeing very well, increase your video quality from YouTube. It should help with that, right? Meanwhile, I'll see how I can. Oh, so yeah, I would move ahead now. If you're having issues with the view, just click on settings and change the quality of your video, and you should have a brighter view, your YouTube video quality, and you have a brighter view. So as I was saying, uh, yeah, so as a full stack developer, you have to know all these things. So you have to know um a thing or two about your database. Yeah, so I'll give you an example. The easiest way to put the full stack into perspective, right? Let's imagine a restaurant. Let's say a booker, right? Okay, booker. Let's say a restaurant, right? So the front end encompasses of like the well decorated, the comfortable sitting areas. You know how beautiful your restaurant is. You know, someone walks into a restaurant, they see how beautiful the restaurant is. Let me use which popular restaurant do we have in Nigeria? The place or there's I think there's the place, then there's I'm trying to remember some of the restaurants. Oh, Mega Chicken. Mega Chicken actually has nice building, I guess. So let's say you walk into Mega Chicken or Burger King, right? Burger King, you see how beautiful Burger Kings, you know, comfortable areas, comfortable sitting areas where visitors can enjoy their food, and you have the kitchen, you have the pantry, you have everything. And so the beautiful place you see, right, is like the front end in the restaurants, right? What people come in and they see, how how they serve their food and how they interact with customers and everything is still on the front end activity. You understand, right? The building, the interior decoration is still a front end activity. Then now the food itself, right? The back end now is like the back end now is the kitchen. You know, the kitchen and the pantry make up. You know, that's where the back end is because that's where they make the logic of the business, right? That's where they make the food, right? So now the food itself is like a code base, like what's your code, That's when you're cooking something. When you're cooking, you're like coding. So the kitchen is where you cook your food. So the kitchen is like the back end. You understand? So the kitchen and the pantry make up the back end and are typically hidden away from the customer's view. You understand? So when you go to a restaurant, you don't see the kitchen, do you? You don't see the kitchen. You understand? So that is like the back end side. Now then I mean I've been to Mega Chicken like quite a number of times. I don't think I've ever seen the kitchen. I only see where they're serving the food. I don't see where the food comes from. I don't see them where they're cooking the food, right? So that's like your back end where they're doing the things you don't get to see it, but you just know that the food is coming out. You know, that's like where the logic of the restaurant is. Yeah. Then now the developers, right, is like the chefs. So the people who are cooking is like the chefs are the one cooking, right? Then they gather permanently stored materials from the pantry. So for them to cook a food for you, right, they have to have like their foodstuffs, right? They need to have their foodstuffs ready and everything. So the foodstuff is like the database, right? The store that holds the foodstuff is the data. Then where they keep those foodstuffs is called the can be referred to can be regarded as a database. You understand? That stores the data that is being used to run computational activities to produce something in the front end, right? So the database holds the foodstuff, or the store holds the foodstuff, which the chef now use to cook, right? And when he cooks, he brings it out and it's being served to a customer on the restaurant, right? So that is the database stores data or has data from the pantry, right? And that data is what the user used to write in writing his backend logic, or the programmer using writing his backend logic. After writing his backend logic, he then uses that backend logic and transfer it to the front end, and the front end displays what was done by the backend guy. You understand? So you make a request on the front end interacts with the back end for the logic on how to execute that request. And the request for it to execute the request, it fetches data there and say, okay, it has data enough data, the data that it needs to execute that request and executes the request on the back end, bring it back to the front end, and the front end shows you. So that is similar to how your websites, your web apps work. Then uh, to perform operations in the kitchen, yeah. So which is the kitchen is like the full server. Let's call the kitchen a server, right? So that's where like the food have everything happening. So the server information, which is the meal, the food is the information. So now, front end developers work to optimize parts of an application right for the web browser. So as a front end developer, you are concerned about how the platform should look, the how the platform should be presented to the user. You know, they're like things that are concerned. Okay, I'll give you an example. I'll just break things down. The core languages that are present in front-end development, right, is not language, sorry. The core technologies is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. HTML is your building block, right? Let's say when they were building the restaurants, right, they were using blocks and just making you're making turning blocks and putting one block on top of each other, one block on top of each other, one block on top of each other. Yeah. Then now, after you finish molding your blocks, right, you've built the structure of the house, but the house is not beautiful, or the structure of the restaurants. But no one can go into the restaurant at that point in time, right? Then now CSS comes in. CSS comes in to like do the plastering, making it beautiful, you know, and do the plastering and painting, and everything looks good. Then now the interior decoration, you might have painted your restaurant, but if your restaurant is not well decorated, it still might not look good. You know, might have a good structure, but how is the behavioral activity of your restaurant? You know, how do your waiters serve? What do your waiter wear? When they come into when you come into the restaurant, how do they greet their customers? How do you set up your seats? You know, if you have a VIP section, do you have a general section? You know, do you have like a senior lounge? Things like that. So what handles those things now is JavaScript. JavaScript talks about what now brings about the dynamic interactivity, you know, in the front end. There's now this dynamic interactivity in the front end when the structure is built and everything is and there's been like a design. JavaScript helps in creating a structure, a dynamic interactivity. You know, like for example, before now you have websites that when you fetch data from the database, it's always going to reload the page, then you see that your page is going to reload on your web browser. But with JavaScript, right, you don't have to reload that page. You know, it will just do the automatic fetching of the data. It can automatically fetch data on its own, and you don't have to reload the page. While the page is still on, it just fetch data on its own without the page reloading. So all those kind of activities now, you know, it's not like the web page cannot run. It's running, but with JavaScript now, it's able to do those kind of things. You get. So that's what JavaScript does. Um, so I think that's a deep explanation of what full stack development is, right? So when then a full stack developer is someone now who now understands how all these things works, right? And he knows how to use everything. So the term full stack developer was originated during the early days of the web, you know, when websites were small and uncomplicated enough to allow a single person to tackle every aspect of the site building, you know. But in the decades since those initial days, you know, the web has grown like very complex. You know, there have been like lots of things uprising, like with IoT, with machine learning, you know, with predictive computing and responsive designs and all. You know, it has made it's now challenging to just have a website that is just like that, you know. But so it's not like it's impossible, right? But it's now not possible, you know, for a single developer to handle everything, you know, every aspect of building this and designing the site or the site or an application, you know. Imagine if as a developer you're the only one doing the front end, back end with the way things are now, you know, uh people going deeper into the data that you get, you know, and lots of complicated activities happening on the web platform. Just put in perspective now. Imagine it's only one person that is working on. I think I want to say Facebook. Or Facebook is too big a company. So I'm trying to see like a company that is just running that's not even too big. Which company can I use? I can really fix one, but probably a company with about 2 million users, right? And you expect just one person to be handling everything. You know, it's going to be difficult. So that's where a full stack developer came in. You know, someone who has knowledge of all these things. You know, but it does not necessarily mean that it's working like in everything. You know, so but he just had knowledge of front end, back end, and is really good at each of them. You understand? So, let's move to the next one. So, data manifestation in sorry, data manifestation in full stack development. So you should know that the kind of data that is that you use in full stack development is or the kind of data that is being manifested in full stack development the um is data as presented. I've explained some of all these things to you already. Data as presented, data in motion, and data at rest. Yeah, data as presented, data in motion, and data at rest. So data presented is like this has to do with data that is that's the data that's I mean, what the end user see, what you present to the end user, that's data that is what's presented. Right? Then data in motion is data that is used within the processes and algorithm. Like when the user has input the data, right, as giving an action, has made an action, right? So the data that is in motion now, data that is used for logical activities, processes and algorithm, that determines how this application is going to work. That's data in motion. Right, and data at rest is now that when data has been processed, the one you store is data at rest. So let me give you a simple example. Uh, let's say there's a registration form, and this registration form, I register my details, and at the point to register your details, yeah, that is data presented. Data presented is I present you a form, right? That is what you see. That's data that was presented to you. And now you imputed data inside now, and it's now in the system. Then now that is now data in motion. Data I've imputed is now data in motion. It has not stored automatically in the database yet. I have to process it and say, okay, go and store in this particular location in my database. You understand? So now once that particular thing happened there, that data is in motion. And now once it moves from there and it goes into the database and is stored, then that data is at what? Is at rest. So as a full stack developer, you are concerned about these three things: the data that is being presented, the data that is in motion, and the data that is being stored, right? So you're concerned about how that data that is going to be presented that is being presented is how it's going to be presented, what is presented, right? Then you're concerned about what is being processed and how what is the data in motion, how it's being processed and what is being processed. Then you're concerned about how the data is stored, how it's going to be stored, and what it's stored. Do you understand? So that is what you're going to be concerned with as a full stack developer. Just have it in mind. So we'll definitely be touching all these things. So now let's move on. Say what is involved in full stack development. Sorry, let me move this here so you can easily see. So what is involved? I've already explained some of these things already. Front end development, back end development, not limited to this. You know, in back end development, there's still database. Then there's still as a full stack developer, you must have knowledge of deployments, because of new technologies that's coming in. You have to have knowledge of deployments, how to deploy application, cloud compute, a little bit of DevOps, CI/CD integrations, and the rest. So I would explain those in depth when we get there. You don't have to worry about it. I just have to explain this so as a beginner, you know what you're getting into. Right. For those who already understand what this is, you don't have to. I know it's gonna be like a boring class to you, but I mean, uh, we have like different levels of learners here. So I'm trying to see how I can make everyone understand this. So, how developers identify their roles? What percentage of developers identify as full stack developers, as full stack, front end, and back end, right? So, this is a statistics from Stack Overflow. According to a 2020 Stack Overflow survey of 65,000 developers worldwide, roughly 54.9% identify as full stack, right? Then for contrast, 52.52 of those surveyed identified themselves as backend developers, 37.1% self-identified as front-end developers, and just 19.2% claim to be mobile developers. You know, when I started my journey as a developer, right, I had this issue. I sometimes I tell you I'm a backend developer. Sometimes I tell you I'm a full stack developer. Sometimes I tell you I'm a mobile developer and all those things. But then I had to I had to really think it through, yeah. I realized that I can't at the time I was calling myself a full stack developer, I was not supposed to be calling myself a full stack developer because I didn't know anything about any JavaScript framework. I was only I was only good at HTML and CSS, right? And I was good at one language and framework, which was Laravel. But that didn't qualify me as a full stack developer, right? As a full stack developer, you must have a good knowledge of a framework in the front end, right? and you must have good knowledge of deployment services too. You understand? So a lot of people make the mistake of calling themselves full stack developers, and from this you see that in all those who identify themselves as a full stack developer, right? You have 52 as 55.2% of them more of back end, have some front end and the rest. So yeah, now let's move ahead. What is the responsibility of a full stack developer? So I'm breaking this thing down so you know your job role as a full stack developer and be able to differentiate, right? So as a full stack developer, you be your everyday responsibility when you're working as a full stack developer, what you'll be doing majorly when you're working, right? Is you'll be working with CSS, HTML, JavaScript, along with some CSS preprocessors to craft client-facing platforms. Then you would in some cases you manage database and servers, because of the platform as it relates to the software, right? Then coding for functionality, and you have to know like multiple languages, and that is what the course is about. We're teaching you like I think get to learn about two languages, or if you some people might classify TypeScript as a language, but I don't. So you'll be learning JavaScript, Java, TypeScript if you want to consider it a language. Then you'll be communicating with you have as a full stack developer, you have to be communication. You communicate with specialized developers and the UI team, your project manager. Then you have to be keeping up with emerging technology that may save your business, because there's one thing people don't know. I used to have a friend, who is a very good Java developer, very, very good Java developer, but he missed the job. Why? Because he was a Java developer as at 5, 6, 7 years ago, I guess. But the world has moved. People don't use JSP, Servlet, and all those things anymore. People are now using frameworks like platforms now use Spring Boot, for Java, and he was still writing JSP and Servlet, which is not bad, because those are like the beginner things, and those are like the strong ones, the strong guys. Being able to work without a framework is a really good thing. But most of the jobs you get these days are jobs that require you learning or using a framework, and he wasn't able to get the job, right? So you have to be able to keep developing yourself, right? You have to be current. You have to be current, right? Then, as a full stack developer, most probably be prototyping viable products for communications with companies, stakeholder, right? And now, I'll still explain more, so as to still give more insights because I think that's supposed to be all of them. So yeah, um, tech money. People are saying tech is the new oil and things like that. So people are like, they want to learn development, they want to learn how to build this, how to build that, right? So here's the thing: are full stack developers in demand? Yes, they are highly in demand. Highly. I'm not saying they are highly in demand. The need for them never goes down. Everything as a developer, right? The need for you is dramatically increasing, because more platforms are coming up. As more platforms are coming up, means more emerging jobs. I think full stack engineer currently ranks number 8, right, in LinkedIn list of emerging jobs. I think should be number 8 or somewhat. So when you're good at your craft and you're really good and you have projects to back your craft, right, you definitely should be expecting the job. So yes, you have high demand across the world, not just in Nigeria or Africa. Across the world, you have high demand of this particular skill set. So um, just do your thing and follow through. All right. So what do you need to know to be called a full stack developer? What do I need to know? So you have to know front end, back end. As a back end, you have to know Java, how to teach Java, object-oriented programming, so as knowing the concepts of object-oriented programming, which is polymorphism, inheritance, um, SQL and the rest. So you have to know back end database, which is SQL, and I would have delved into Python, but not before this bootcamp, right? Then you also have to, I'll take you through Kubernetes, and Docker and Kubernetes, then Git. You have to know Git too. Then the universal front-end skills that you have to know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and DOM manipulation, how to manipulate the DOM, right? I'll still explain most of all these things. So I'll explain everything to you by through the course of the study. So now the last thing is, what is the difference between a full stack developer and a software developer? That's an extra. Sorry, I didn't add it to my slide. So I would put that in perspective. Meanwhile, I'm trying to see if there was a question. I'm trying to see if there's a question here. I don't think anyone has asked a question. Did anyone ask a question? Let me see. Let me see. So apparently there's no question, yeah? So, uh, difference between the full stack developer, when it comes to accessibility, a full stack developer can work on any part of the web application, but a software developer work on specific parts of a software, application. Then they interact more with other members of the team. Then a software developer interacts comparatively less with the team members. So I think probably I should explain who a software developer is first. So the core difference between both parties. So software development means developing software that can run on multiple platforms, right? It involves coding as well as testing and deployment of the software. A software developer works on a particular layer depending on his or her skill set or expertise, sorry. So I can be focused on front end and call myself a software developer. Do you get? Or I can focus on back end and call myself a software developer. Do you get? Then they are more specific to one part of the platform, all right? So but a full stack developer is concerned about every part of a platform, right? So that's why I said. Then working domain, work of a full stack developer, they manage both server side and client side, development and write program databases, APIs, and design a website, right? So I'll explain what API is when we move into backend development, or probably while we're doing our front-end development, I'll explain what API is. Then, uh, as a software developer, you are in charge. Your responsibilities is in making softwares or application that runs on computers. They they make the software, check them, and also make sure that they work without any error or hindrance. All right. So people who are involved in making softwares like MS Word, MS Excel, Skype, MS Access, PowerPoint, all those things. Those are like, you call them software developers or software engineers. So I would possibly drop some links for you to still study more if you want to know deep insight about who a full stack developer is or what they do. I'll still drop some useful link for you to be able to read through. Well, that brings us to the end of our session. It's a very short session, I guess. I think it's just 46 minutes long. So I hope the class has been insightful. Our next class is going to be on Thursday. That's when it's going to be our next class. Our next class is going to be on a Thursday by same time Thursday, and we'll be talking about the web, internet, the web, how the web works. You know, because before we start teaching you or going going deep into start coding, right? You have to know how the web works. You have to know what is involved in how the data show move around, how do you how what happens when you visit a website, what happens after you visit the website, how does the website show itself to you, like how what happens in there. So how does the web works, where does your website, where is it hosted in? How is it hosted? So we'll discuss about all those things in depth, yeah? So just brace up. Tomorrow's session is going to be a good one and a nice one. And so most probably will uh I most probably will drop link. Like I said you guys should drop your questions on the forum so that it'll be easier for me to see it. Right now I might not see some questions that have passed before now, but it's okay. I think I'll just try and scroll through most of the questions here and see if I can answer them. So someone asks, are there certificates at the end of the course? So I'm sorry, Sergeant Kipto, sorry, I won't be giving certification, but if you require a certificate, right? If you require a certificate, you can send a mail to me. I would request one from Lenali, and Lenali is going to give you a certificate, right? Requesting of salary and then will give you certificates if you require a certificate. But I'm not promising everyone a certificate because the course is specifically, as you notice, is a free course and it's just concerned about wanting to educate people and have them learn required skill sets. So I won't be issue certificates. I don't have a certification body, but Learnerly has a certification body, or Learnerly is a certification body. So if you require a certificate by the end of the course, you can always let me know or send a mail, and I'll discuss with Learnerly representatives, and they will prepare certificates for you, right? Then someone asked, can you tell us the tools we need so we can get them ahead of coding classes? Okay, so there will be a class for that. I will tell you the things you need to get started. The platforms, everything you need to download uh, the time the time, yeah. So we will be getting PDF documents or links to get started off. Like I said, now I have a team working with me, so they're going to um, prepare a transcript of this course of what I've discussed now, and it's going to be on the blog. That's on my blog. Right, the transcript of this today's class is going to be on my blog, and after the class, you're going to have sorry after I'm still going to prepare some links for you so you can read more and understand what it means to be a full stack developer, right? Then so I said, how can we ask questions in real time, just like when the audio overlaps, so that you can see it immediately? So I'm using YouTube Live, so you can always send your ask your questions on the comment section. I definitely will see it in real time. That was how I was able to know that it was echoing. So once you ask it on the comment section, I would see it, right? So someone says my question is PHP is a backend technology, Python too, but you said you were not going to teach that. Does that mean once someone learns Java, the backend is fixed? So PHP, Python, Java, even JavaScript, right? Because Node.js is a back-end technology too. But the thing is, it's not a must that you know everything, right? It's good that you have knowledge of them, but it's not a must that you know everything. Yeah. Like for me, I write PHP, right? I write Python and I also write Java. But those are like I started writing PHP first, then I had a project that required me learning Python and I had to learn Python because I was interning, right? Then I had a project that required me learning Java and had to learn Java, right? So, but I'm teaching you Java because Java is like on high demand right now because most of the core platforms that you have, most of these strong security intensive platforms are built with Java. Then, if you want to learn Python, right? My the cohort 2 of this bootcamp, I'll be teaching Python. You understand? Because I'll be teaching Python on the cohort 2. So since yes, yes, but that'll be like after the 6 months. So if you feel you want to learn Python, you can also join the cohort too, right? Then will there be a software for us to download in full stack development? So when the classes starts, there will be a series of platforms you need to download, like the IDs that you're going to use. You have to install SQL and some things on your platform, on your system, right? So, but when the classes start, when we start coding, when we move into coding, so is there a difference between software development and software engineering? Yes, there is, but it's a very slight difference. Yeah, as a software engineer, you have to understand all the development process, the engineering process that makes you build a platform. Software development is concerned about what it takes to build the software. Software engineering is concerned about how and everything that is involved from the project initiation to the stakeholders, you know. So this the full software development life cycle, a software engineer has to be involved in it, right? The engineering process, the architectural process of the software, that is where the engineer comes in. But a software developer is not really deeply concerned in all those things. So there's difference between both parties. Can you learn at least one front-end framework and one back-end framework and be a full-stack developer? Yes, you can, but as the thing is, when you learn one framework, it's easier to learn other frameworks. You understand? Like once you learn how to write one language, not framework, right? Just I think you use language because as a full stack developer, you're experiencing more than one language, right? You're experiencing the front end language and the back end language, right? So, how can we get the transcript on your blog? So I said after this session, all right, my team will start working on the transcript and probably before the end of the week or tomorrow on yeah by tomorrow you should get the transcript with a written transcript of this content on my blog. I would send a link to you I'll send it via the email, right? Also you should also get an email reminder for the next class too. So yeah. I said how another person has most jobs. Yeah, like I said, most job openings these days are more of Java because Java is used in building sophisticated systems and security intensive systems. Yeah, so that's why I'm teaching Java. But in the next cohort, like I said, the next cohort, which is after 6 months, right, I'll treat Python. So if you feel you want to learn Python, you can then join the Python class. Who is a mobile developer? A mobile developer is someone who builds mobile applications, someone who builds for the mobile. And funny enough, before now, Java used to be the language used in building Android application. Then they brought in the same this thing brought in the cousin to Java, which is Kotlin. Kotlin is a language that is similar to Java, but fixes some loopholes of Java, right? And that's what it is in uh, building Android applications. Then now, I think Google brought out Flutter. So Flutter is used to now build hybrid applications. Then Facebook has React and React Native, which is now used to also build hybrid applications. But Flutter is I think it's OEM, so it's like one code base, two platforms. Right. I think Flutter now, I think there's a new implementation where you can use Flutter to build desktop applications. I don't really know deep into that. But yeah, so a mobile developer is one who builds mobile applications. And Miriam Jimo, would we be giving projects as time? Yes, definitely. The best way to learn is to work with projects. So for each class we take, we're going to have small projects in between. Yeah, that's going to make you grow. So, can you drop your email address? If you eventually got emails from me, you should know my email address by now. But I think I'll still send it here. Like that's why I said it's good that most of your questions are asked on the platform, on the forum, because if your question is asked on the forum and it's being answered on the forum, it will be easier for anyone who is following the class to come back and see an answer there. You understand? So rather than have your questions on the comments for the next class, please ask your questions on the forum. It's better on the forum so that it's going to be helpful for those who uh who missed the live session. They can always come to the forum and they can see, okay, so the questions that were being asked and probably might answer some of the questions that they have in mind. But once it's like this, they can't follow through, right? But for today's class, it's permitted. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel because when we start the coding class, I'm going to move the classes from public to unlisted, and those who are not subscribed won't be able to access the coding classes. So someone asked the questions. So please, some of us are complete beginners. What is framework? Ah, I didn't explain that. That's true. So I am sorry I didn't explain that. I think on the next class I'm going to explain that deeper. All right, what is a framework? I'll explain what a framework is for you deeper. What is a library? What is a framework? I'll explain about. I think what you just have to understand in is like a framework is like a structure, right? An underlying system, a concept, or a text. For example, if uh have let's say I'm trying to find an example. A perfect example should be a perfect example should be uh let's say when you're building a house, right? There's a pattern you want. There's what helps the building process of the house easier and faster. That's like the framework you use, the structure you use in building a house. You know, that's what the framework. I'll explain deeper what framework is for you, but let me give you an example, right? So there's a traditional way. Let's say there's a traditional way of writing ABC, right? Then someone comes and say, rather than writing ABC like that, oh, we can just write um ham. Exactly. Roman numerals. Roman numerals is a framework of numbers, right? So it's more like instead of me writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? For it to be understandable to people, right? Or make it easier and faster, I decided to start using the Roman numerals or probably tallies. You know how they write tallies and they write 1, 1, 1, 1 and dash, you know. So that's 1, 1, 1, 1 and dash. That's a tally. So that is like a framework for numbers. You understand? So it's I don't know if you understand the concept, but I'll add it. I'm adding it now to what to ask in the next class. So I'm going to explain deeper what frameworks are to you. So with examples, so you see it, I understand it. So someone asked there WhatsApp space. There is no WhatsApp space, but there is the forum. If you want to log into the forum, this is the link to the forum to get registered at the forum. Forum dot I mean melody.com, right? That's the link to the forum. Then here's the link to the blog. Let me just blog.melody.com. So you can register on the forum. Then you can also visit the blog, and I'll be posting a transcript of this section on the blog. Then so if you have personal questions, you can also send an email to me here, or you can use the contact form on either the forum or the blog to send an email to me, and I'll respond to you. Right? Yeah. So this is the end of today's class. I hope you all had a good time. Let me make some small knife. So I hope you had a good time, and um, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for coming. So on the next, remember the next class is on Thursday and same time. And please be on time. Be on time. So we'll start early. And next class we're going to be talking about web technologies. We're going to talk about how the web works. And you can also go and study. I'm going to send an email to everyone so you know what we're going to be talking about. So you can also equip yourself before time. Have a good one, guys, and bye bye. Arrivederci.